Hi, everyone. I'm Steel Wagstaff. Welcome to the October Pressbooks Product Update. In this update, I want to share several of the new features and things that we have developed and released as part of Pressbooks and our related plugins and themes. The first thing that I want to share is that we've increased the language and script support for people who want to work in the many languages of the world. So there is a language called Khmer. It's the national language of Cambodia. And previously, we didn't have very good script or language support for Khmer. So one of the things that we did was in Pressbooks now, here's a sample chapter that I've written. Here are several of the Khmer characters that are used in the Khmer alphabet. So if you were to have just added those characters before and produced an export, you would see the dreaded tofu blocks or question marks or, hey, we don't have those characters. So if you want to add support for Khmer, just like any other of the alphabets that we add support for, what you'd want to do is you'd want to come into your book and in Appearance Theme Options, you'll see lots of different languages that you can add script support for. So we have, dozens of languages already, and Khmer is now an option. So if I add Khmer and I click Save Changes, this will make sure that you have the font families needed to display and render the Khmer characters in your EPUB and PDF exports. So what I'll do now is I'll come into the export routine for this book, and I'll make a new PDF export. Whereas before, I didn't have the Khmer characters in the alphabet. Now they are rendering, and they're being rendered hopefully as expected. So if you have people that are working in Khmer or want to write a Khmer textbook or other kinds of things, they can now use Khmer as a supported language. If you're aware of other scripts or languages that you'd like to have supported that aren't supported in Pressbooks, please let us know. We're always interested in fixing and improving that for our users generally. Another big change that we made was we are working to improve our compatibility with PHP 8. So PHP is kind of the rendering engine that WordPress and other kind of things use to build and assemble their websites. And there is a major release of PHP called PHP 8. Previously, Pressbooks had required PHP 7.4. PHP 7.4 will be going out of its end of life security support by the core PHP team. And so the time has come for anybody who's hosting their own Pressbooks networks to start upgrading their servers to run PHP 8 or even PHP 8.1. So we've made a bunch of changes in the last month to make sure that Pressbooks can run as expected on PHP 8. That release will be coming out very soon. And before the end of November, we will be requiring PHP 8 on all new releases of Pressbooks and all plugins and themes. So that's just a note for open source users who are following and tracking this. We'll be asking people to update to PHP 8 shortly. And anyone who's hosting with us, you will see shortly that we're running newer versions of PHP, which should result in faster performance of your networks, which is generally good. Another thing that we worked on were we made a series of bug fixes that fixed other different kind of export issues that people had. So one of the things that someone let us know in the marketing channel, they said, hey, I have an apostrophe in my title of my book, and all of a sudden it's making weird things happen on the PDF and EPUB exports. That's now fixed, and there's the video to prove it. When you create chapters in Pressbooks, chapters can be of a standard type or a numberless type. If you say numberless chapter, it won't display a number in the table of contents when we generate the PDFs. And in the web book, it won't display the number. There is a theme option, which I was talking about earlier, which is whether you want to display part and chapter numbers at all. If this is on, we'll display part and chapter numbers. So what you should expect to see is this chapter is numbered, this one that's invisible is not, this one's also numbered, and this one is numberless. So that's working as expected in the web book. And we had an issue in the EPUB where if you had a numberless chapter that didn't have a title, which is not usually supposed to happen, but some people do, it was producing problems in the export. That's now been fixed so that if you look here, here's my first numbered chapter, here's my numberless chapter without a title, here's my second numbered chapter, and here's another numberless chapter. And the table of contents is showing the numbers as expected. So you can now use those features as designed. Those bugs have all been fixed in the EPUB and PDF exports. My thanks to our dev team and Ricardo in particular for helping us find and fix that bug. We also made a series of accessibility improvements throughout the Pressbooks interface. So some places that you can see accessibility improvements will be on the import page. When you select these different import options, you'll now notice that the labels are a bit clearer and you can tab through and select different options. So if I were to select the other radio box, you'll see now the source URL has changed and the focus indicator is very clear and they're all clearly labeled. We have a search bar here on the theme. And now as you start typing in, there's a prompt here that says search install themes. Now afterwards, we also just display the label that stays there permanently. So you can understand what the search input is for, even when you've started filling in the text that you want to search for. And then the last one I want to show is on the chapter editor. In the chapter editor itself, you'll notice there's WYSIWYG buttons that often have these hover over pop-up labels. We've improved the labeling for the footnote, for the LaTeX and the glossary term labels. And we've also we've added some standard icons that are slight updates and changes here. So the functionality is still the same, but the labeling and the icons have been updated so that it's a little bit clearer what they're for, and a screen reader will help you indicate what those buttons do if you're accessing this and you're visually impaired. So those are some of the accessibility fixes we've made. We're excited to be always improving the general accessibility of Pressbooks. And as with other kinds of issues, if there are things that you know of that you've flagged and are aware of, please let us know, and we'd love to make Pressbooks more accessible to all. I know Lauren in the past and people at Washington have been particularly diligent about helping us find and fix accessibility issues. So thank you very much for that. The most exciting thing that I want to show next is that, or mention is, you've heard us talk about it at the last several product updates, but since Michelle joined us, we've had a big UX UI redesign project. And the function or the goal of this is that we have heard from network managers for a long time that they want better ways to showcase their books that they have published with Pressbooks. The existing Aldine theme has a catalog, but it wasn't very beautiful and it wasn't as functional as people wanted it to be. So we talked with many of you over the course of several months, and our dev team has worked on building a replacement network catalog for the Aldine theme. We just released the first public version of this in its full featured thing. It has now been activated for all Pressbooks clients, and it's now available for installation by any of our open source users. So there's a GitHub repo called Pressbooks Network Catalog. If you're an open source user and you want to install it, there's instructions there for how to use it. It requires the Aldine theme, and once it's activated, it will replace the catalog. So I'm going to give a demo of how you as a network manager can use this catalog to showcase your books. The first thing you'll notice is that all of your networks already have a catalog page. The appearance of the catalog page now will look a lot like this. If you haven't made any changes, it will simply say the word catalog or the title of your catalog here in the top. It has a hero image, and then you can see that it has subject, license, updated, institution, publisher, and H5P activity filters. If you used the Pressbooks directory before, many of these filters will be familiar. You'll see that there's search functions, there's a sorting the number of results, and a sort order option. And then it will simply display all of the books that you've added to your catalog. The first thing that I want to show you is, if you're not using the catalog feature, you might want to know, well, how do I add books to my catalog? Right now, I've only got 5. Maybe I want to really showcase more books. Well, to do that, as a network manager, you'd come in and you'd click Network Admin, and you'd click your book list. Here, you'll see a list of all of the books on your network, and there'll be a column that says In Catalog. So you can do this one of 2 ways. You can simply add a book to your catalog manually by clicking that check mark, or in this case, I'm going to add multiple books all at once. So let's pick these 4, 5, 6. Let's add these 8 books to my catalog. So I've selected 8 books, and now I'm going to click Add to Catalog. And this will then take these books and add them to my catalog. That's really all you have to do to add books or remove books from your catalog as a network manager. Now that that's done, if I refresh my catalog, you'll see I went from having 5 results to having 13 results in my catalog. And so now I've added several new books to my catalog. You can add and remove books from your catalog just as simply as that from your network manager catalog list. Let's add this one. You'll notice if a book was previously private, Adding it to the catalog will also make the book public, and unpublishing a book will remove it from the catalog. So those two features go together. A book must be public to be in your catalog. And if a book is made private, it can no longer be in your catalog. So that will automatically make those changes for you. So I want to pause. I think there's something in the chat. Great question, Steve. So that should be in effect for everybody. If it's not, let me check with you just after this, and I'll make sure that we've got it turned on and active for your network. The second thing that I want to show you is how you can configure and customize the catalog. So you have just blank text up here, but you may want to say something about your network catalog. You may want to change the title or customize the appearance here. To do that, you'd come into your root network, click the dashboard, click all pages, and you would find your catalog page. You can now edit your catalog. So here I'm editing my catalog page, and I've added whatever sample text that I want to display on that homepage. You can add headings, you can add links, you can add anything that you want here in your home catalog page. The important thing is that it needs to be set to be template catalog. If it is set to template catalog, it will display the new catalog feature on your network. So I've just made a few changes to my content here. This is what I want to say about my fake network catalog. And I might want to also change the title to call it Utopos Press Catalog. So now when I go back and view this page, you'll now see whatever the customized text that I have here is being displayed in that section here. So you can really enter whatever preparatory materials or things that you want to say about your catalog or your network there. And that's the first change that we want to share. I see somebody's got their hand up. I'll pause and I'll take the question from Steve. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, when I go to our base URL for our Pressbooks account, granite.pressbooks.pub, it shows, I guess, something different than what you just showed. So I just wanted to clarify that what you're describing here is something that is beyond just the root URL. There's a slash catalog after that you're referring to. And now I see that I have it. I thought I didn't have it. I just wanted to try one thing here. If I go into my network directory and I go to the dashboard and then it shows granite.pressbooks.pub, it doesn't show the catalog. So apparently there's two different things here. There's the website and then there's the catalog. And I didn't realize that those were not one and the same.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. So I'll go back and I'll help kind of clarify and explain this. So the relationship between the two, because that may be confusing other people as well. All right. So every one of you has a root site. It's what it's called, the home page or the landing page for your network. This is the root site, and this is controlled by a theme called Aldine. Aldine lets you display these custom blocks with text and calls to action. And then there's a permanent block that will show you some sample publications and link to your catalog, which is a separate page. And then if you want, you can display other features. You can have other blocks. You can have a contact form, et cetera. What I'm talking about is what we've done is we've replaced the old catalog with a new catalog. In this case, what I was showing was a catalog page that I had edited, university.pressbooks.pub.catalog. And in your case, Steve, let me show you here. On your site, you have your home page, and then it takes you to a catalog. You now have a new catalog page, which has all of the features that I was just showing. If you wanted to edit the text up here, you would come in on your site, on the home thing, and click dashboard, and you would click pages. Home lets you edit your home page and just control the appearance of any of those blocks on the home page of your network. And you will all have a default catalog page here. This is the one that you can edit. You'll notice that its template is set to catalog. And right now it's empty, but you can customize this to your heart's content. When you customize this, this will reflect the changes that I just showed here for this particular catalog. Hope that answers that question, Steve. That was a great question. I'm sure other people probably have the same question. In addition to customizing the text in your catalog page, you can also change that hero image that I was showing earlier. So I'll come back to your pages here, and we'll go to Pressbooks, Utopos Press Catalog. If you want to change the hero image, we now support using a featured image to change the background image. So I'm going to say set featured image. I'm going to choose a new file. Let's do this one. I think this is the one. I downloaded a picture of a library earlier. Great. Okay, that's what I want. A bunch of nice looking books. Once I set the featured image and I update this page, it's now going to load that nice dark colored library image as my new hero image. And that's how you customize your catalog. There's a lot of things that you can do with your catalog. The first thing that I want to do is I want to show off something that Michelle worked really hard on and that our dev team implemented. I'm going to switch to the mobile view. Here on the mobile view, you'll notice that books are displaying well. You'll see that the search has been collapsed. The filters will shrink down and you can open and expand the filters here. The results will be able to be sorted. Let's say I want to show 20 results per page. And then I can also change the sort by order and sort by alphabetically by title. You can see like all through the responsive design, the design of your catalog will adjust and hopefully will display well, no matter what kind of device people are on. The next thing that I wanted to show, I guess, here was how to use the various filters to find different things. The first thing that you may want to do is, just like in the directory, you may want to filter by license. So here I might want to see only the Creative Commons books in my catalog. So I can apply those filters and you'll see 13 of the 15 books in my catalog have a Creative Commons license. And each of these filter chips is active and can be removed. The next thing you'll see is that we've got an accessible date picker here. So I'm going to tab into this and say, I only want books that have been updated since the start of 2021. And I will apply this filter. And you can choose a to date or you can leave that blank. If you try to pick a to date that's it's before, so my to date is before my from date, what you'll notice is you'll get a little validation warning that says, oh, you can't do that. You have to pick a date that's later than your from date and say, oh, okay, well, let's do this. Let's do 2020 to this. And I probably will return no results here. So let's say no results were found. When you get a query that has no results, we're going to give you a little message. You might want to check your spelling, use alternate terms, or clear one or more filters. So if I clear my filter, then I get results back again. If you're indicating which institution published your books, some of you have consortial networks where many institutions are sharing one Pressbooks network. This catalog allows you essentially to have separate catalogs quite easily for any of the institutions that you support. So for example, let's look at the UCF books that we have on this network. So I have this one book and I could say, okay, if you want to consistently see all of the UCF books, I will just clear the filters and I'll say, let's make the institution only UCF. I can take this link right here and I can share it or send it or post it, and it will always bring up the active list of books published by that institution. So although we have one catalog, you really have as many individual catalogs as you would like because they have a permanent URL that will tell you any one of those facets that you'd like to have applied. The same thing is true of publisher. And what's also nice is there's also a filter now where you can look for books that have H5P activities. So let's filter by H5P activities, and it will tell you here, when we look at the book card, here's a book that has a lot of good metadata. We've got the cover image, we've got a link to the book itself, the license, how many H5P activities it has, and if I click this link, I can even see which 12 they are. So here's my 12 activities in that book, and I could expand them and see more about the activities this book has and assess their quality there. You can see the language the book is written in, the author, the publisher, when it was last updated, and we will display a description. The description is truncated after 4 lines, but if you want, you can expand it and contract it. So hopefully you feel that this is a much better tool for showcasing books on your network. We know we worked really hard on it. We've given a lot of thought and feedback to this. We want to especially thank all of the network managers and people who have talked to us about what they wanted and needed to showcase their books. And a huge, huge thanks to the many developers who worked very hard on this, Ricardo and Delcine and Oscar in particular, and Michelle, who's the UI and UX designer who made this possible, who listened to you and helped come up with the wireframes here. So I guess that's the showcase of how you can better showcase your books. There's a bunch of things that are coming in the near future related to this. We want to continue refining and improving this. We want to make it better and better meet your needs. So as you find things that aren't working as expected or that you'd like to be better or different for this, please do keep an open line of conversation with us. We want to improve that. I'll pause and stop and ask for first impressions or initial feedback now.
I love it. Short and sweet. Yeah, that looks great. The catalog list.
That's the very best kind of feedback, Wade. Thank you. I'd love to hear from other people too, if you have questions or thoughts or things you'd like to add.
Now that the new catalog is there and it's like so many more people see the covers of our books, I was curious, and I haven't tried this in a while, but I'd like to be able to upload like SVGs as book covers, for example, just to have a crisper, kind of more lossless experience for people viewing it, especially as you were showing. I was thinking about it when I was looking at the chemistry book, because we have a bunch of names on there, right? And they're all kind of really hard to see. Even if you zoom in, it's kind of blurry. So just your thoughts, or I'm sure that's come up before and I hadn't asked in a really long time. So
great question, Jim. Actually, I don't think anybody has asked about SVG covers. I'm not sure whether we currently support SVG covers or not. I'd have to check. My first feeling would be probably we don't, but we could consider adding it. The biggest problem with allowing SVG uploads is that SVGs are difficult to sanitize and they can pose a security risk because people can inject malicious things. We try to sanitize SVGs. We have an option that allows us to check and sanitize SVGs to some degree. And so we allow networks on an individual basis to allow list SVG uploads, but it's not a core feature of either Pressbooks or WordPress at this point. So I might have to do a bit more research on that. That's a really good idea. If you wanted to braze it in ideas or work with me, I could create a feature idea for us to research that and see whether that'd be possible and what the pros and cons would be.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
Something that I hadn't even initially noticed until Jim made that comment, but all our covers look a bit fuzzy. I don't know if it's because they've been scaled at a weird ratio or something like that. I mean, it's not horrible. Like I said, I didn't even notice it at first, but I'm just curious.
They look fuzzy on the catalog?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the catalog entry,
I'd love to see it, and then we can take a look at it. It may be that we're not using the right resolution, and that can be a quick fix for us. But I'd have to see it. Do you want me to just go to Ohio State's catalog? And
I mean, sure. I think you could probably look at anybody's catalog. I'm guessing it's not unique here. Steve's saying he's seeing that too. It
might be the. So you're saying you're seeing some pixelation here.
Yeah, it's probably just pulling from something smaller, and like it's not horrible. But just
yeah, it looks like we're using a pretty small resolution of that image instead of, I'm guessing, the book itself has a higher quality image. Oh, interesting. I don't know why it's using that. Okay, so something's happening there with what resolution of the image we're grabbing, and that's something we can look at. Thanks, Mike, for reporting that. I want to mention on Amy's behalf, Amy couldn't make it. She's our customer success manager, but she said she wanted me to tell everyone we are hosting an upcoming webinar that's called How to Publish and Showcase Your Books on Thursday, November 10th from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The webinar is free and open to all. It's going to be especially interesting for network managers, but also for individual book authors who want tips on how to publish and showcase and market their books. You can register for the session. It's free on Zoom, so I'll drop in a link. Please share this widely. Please attend, encourage others to attend. Also, we are collecting ideas from network managers about things that you have done to help increase the visibility of books you've published, whether it's email announcements or book petting zoos or anything that you do or have seen others do on your campus to help increase the visibility or share or showcase the books that you've published on your network. And so if you have ideas for that, we have a short survey that just asks you to submit them, and then we'll be sharing many of them with others. So that's coming up. It should be great. And details for that are in the agenda, and I'll drop the agenda link here. I want to thank everybody for coming out this month. We had a really nice meeting. We hope to see you again next month in November for the next set of product updates.